The So Bros Network presents the movie podcast breaking down films and their impact on pop culture as they approach the legal drinking age. This is Drinking With. Now here's your host, Stephen McCash.
Welcome to Drinking With, the podcast where we raise a glass to the movies that have reached the legal drinking age. I'm your host, Stephen McCash of the So Bros Network. And join me as we embark on a cinematic journey through the classics of yesteryear, celebrating their 21st birthdays in style, from iconic blockbusters to hidden gems. Each episode will toast to a different film that has stood the test of time and shaped our cultural landscape. So grab your favorite beverage or the one we've curated for this episode, and let's dive into the nostalgia as we explore movies that are finally old enough to join us for a drink. Now, joining me as always at the bar are the two best people I can think of to stumble out of a bar after a long night discussing movies. First is the resident film critic of the So Bros Network, Mr. Brandon Vick, who is also a board member of the Southeastern Film Critics Association, a board member of the Music City Films Critics Association, and most importantly, right here, he is the birth giver of the Vic's Flicks and Cinema Chronicles podcast, heard here on the So Bros Network. He's also the person who gave Joker 2 3 stars on Letterboxd, so take that for what it's worth. And then joining him is the man behind the So Bros Network, the EIC, the glue of the brand, a gin aficionado, a cat lover, all-around football wordsmith, a budding sports talks radio star, and somebody who still hates the movie Gremlins, Mr. Stoney Keeley. Gentlemen, how are we doing on this spring day?
I'm posing like Bobby Lashley.
You are.
Thanks
and
for asking.
I'm still hating the Gremlins.
Yeah.
So, this time of year is tricky. We got to get our obligatory.
Yeah. Well, hang on a
talk
second.
in.
And Joker 2 is a fine 3 out of 5 star movie.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't remember what I gave.
Said
it.
one person in the universe.
No, because they didn't. You know why? People watched it and they didn't get it.
Oh,
That's it.
You
We're
didn't
all
have to
stupid.
like it. No. But Todd Phillips and Joaquin came in there with a purpose, and they did it. Now, that doesn't mean everyone's going to love it and enjoy it, but I think they wanted to do exactly the opposite of the first one and turn the audience as if we were kind of throwing away Arthur Fleck for the Joker, and that's not who Arthur was.
Who brought up the Joker on this podcast?
He did during my intro.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed it. Sorry.
On my letterbox. He's, you know what? I've noticed he's been studying my letterbox so he can grind me out of every damn intro.
That reminds me. I think I probably need to put my Gremlins rating on Letterboxd. I don't know that it's on there. I think I gave Joker Folie à Dieu 2 stars.
2?
I think I gave it 2. Yeah.
I know our buddy Brett, I think, gave it 3 or 3.5.
It was on his list in the Nashville Movie Dispatch Movie Annual 2024 as like one of his favorites of the year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's because.
So we're not going to ask him back for next year, right?
Correct. That is correct.
Yeah. What are we here to talk about today, McCash?
We're here to talk about a film that before we started recording, we were raking through the coals, if you will.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right into it. If you were with us April of last year, we did a review of a film that was the first volume of 2. So we have decided, let's finish it off, and that would be Kill Bill Volume 2, what we're talking about today. Kill Bill Volume 2 is the 5th feature film from Oscar-winning writer Quentin Tarantino that finds the bride returning to finish her tour of revenge as she continues to hunt down and kill the group of mercenaries that left her for dead on her wedding day, including her former boss and lover, Bill.
That was you, wasn't it? You wrote that.
That was me. Yeah.
It was good. Well done.
That had a lot more McCash on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know what that means, but like grammatical errors and shit. Is that what you're talking about?
No. Sorry. Trying to get these Reese's Pieces out of my teeth.
Gotcha. While you do that, I'll tell you it was written and directed by Quentin Tarantino, also starring Uma Thurman as the bride, aka Black Mamba, aka Beatrix Kiddo. Starred David Carradine as Bill, aka the Snake Charmer, Michael Madsen as Bud, aka Sidewinder, Daryl Hannah as L Driver, aka California Mountain Snake, and Vivica A. Fox as Vernita Green, aka Copperhead. That was a lot to get out.
What was the deal with the snakes? Did Quentin Tarantino just think that would be cool, or was that an homage to something else? Do we know?
I don't know. Didn't Marvel do it?
The Serpent Society?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
How well did that turn out?
I don't know. I don't know what reference. Like, I don't know if that's based off of something from the 60s or 70s. I would imagine it is. I feel bad for Daryl Hannah trying to get, what was it, a California mountain snake?
Yeah, that's what I'm
That
saying. Like,
sucks.
that's, I don't know. Like, and then like some of the character names are just, I don't know.
They have to be. I'm sure it's off of
just the way he does things. I
something,
feel like
yeah.
it's,
There's something behind each.
he had a waitress at the Hermitage Cafe in Nashville named Beatrix Kiddo, and was like, what a unique
Where
name.
did that? Yeah,
I'm going to use that as a character.
but I did kind of like it because he says kiddo, and you're like, like an old man talking to a
It's
younger
weird.
woman.
It's creepy.
Kiddo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw them as more of a like a father mentor.
Yeah.
Until I realized he got her pregnant, which I kind of forgot about that part.
Yeah. Also, whatever happened to David Carradine?
He died.
Carradine. Did
He
he
died.
really?
Yeah.
It was
Was he like sexual asphyxiation or something
Yeah.
like that?
yeah, and he was
Oh,
hung.
shit.
He was hung and died.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it was in Taiwan. Something
Taiwan or
like
Thailand, something like that. Yeah.
that. Yeah,
I wish I hadn't.
Pretty
asked
cool,
that.
huh?
I wish I hadn't asked that
pretty cool.
question.
huh?
But I was just watching this film, like, man, he's a good actor.
Well, he was in the Kung Fu.
Oh,
movie.
was he?
Yeah. So it was a
TV
big
show,
deal
yeah.
for Tarantino to get him. So it made sense why he was in it, why he was Bill. Like, totally get it. That's why I don't totally just not like or wasn't entertained by either volume, but then I mean we'll get into it. It's just kind of like it's weird to see Tarantino copying like other people.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
And I get why he's doing it. I'm not saying like, well, Brandon, don't you realize he's I do, but it's just weird.
It's an homage to several genres.
Yeah. But when that Tarantino flair ain't there.
Well, and to me, like it's the storytelling aspect of it that lacks that flair.
Yes.
Stylistically, it very much looks like a Tarantino.
But parts
flick.
of me thinks, is that what like, hey, listen, this was the stories of the 60s and 70s Kung Fu movies. I ain't changing shit.
This is what
we're
going to
do more violence
Yeah.
and we're going to make it look this way. But anyway, that's why David Carradine was in it, because he actually was the star of Kung Fu.
That makes sense. Because I was watching him and just like, man, this guy's really fucking cool. What else has he done? And I didn't know that. So.
He, again, kind of like with Pam Grier and Jackie Brown, they were stars of the 60s and 70s, really.
Yeah. But I told you guys, I felt like Kill Bill as a whole feels very much like someone trying to take a rudimentary linear story and just saying, I want to make this like Quentin Tarantino. It feels like an imitation of a Tarantino
like
flick
a
to me.
student film in college. Somebody was like, Tarantino's my influence, so here's my homage to him.
It's really kind of bizarre because, like you said, Brandon, it just kind of feels like from a storytelling standpoint, there's just not. It doesn't really feel like there's a whole lot going on. It's a very linear story about revenge, and that's kind of it.
It's definitely style over substance.
Yeah,
especially Volume 1. Volume 2 is more. Like McCash said, it does kind of resemble. I think it's kind of because of when you're dealing with Daryl Hannah's character, Michael Madsen. They're out in the desert. It does feel like a Western, more so than Kung Fu, because then it comes about the sword. But I will say, I still love the Michael Madsen scenes.
I do too.
I still love them.
I love the vibe. I love the style.
I love when him and Bill talk.
Yeah,
and he's like, we get what we deserve. And then he laughs. He's like, but then again, so does she. And I remember seeing that in the preview and thinking, that's a good way to look like, hey, I know what we did. And I don't blame her for coming to get us, but I'm going to kill her.
Yeah, I agree with you on Michael Madsen. Bud was my favorite character in the both volumes.
Yeah, I
And
like
so
that.
much so, I thought we could name this week's drink or this month's drink after Bud, and that's
Ooh.
Bud's Margarita, which you so sloppily watch him make in the trailer
Yeah.
before his demise to Daryl Hannah. Simple. It's a simple margarita. You need kosher salt, you need lime, you need tequila, Gran Marnier, and some agave syrup. You're going to spread 2 teaspoons of kosher salt in an even layer on a small flat plate. You're going to take half of 1 medium lime, cut that lime wedge from 1/2, and then juice the remaining lime pieces until you have 1 ounce. That was hard to get out. You're going to run the lime wedge over the rim of an old-fashioned glass or a margarita glass to get it moistened. Invert the glass into the salt, turning it as needed to coat the rim. Basically, you're putting the salt on the rim of the glass. Fill the glass with ice, and then place your lime juice, your tequila, your Gran Marnier, and your agave syrup in a cocktail shaker. Fill the shaker halfway with ice, seal, and shake until the outside of the shaker is very frosty, about 20 seconds worth. And then pour through a fine mesh strainer into the glass, garnish with a lime wedge, and there you have Bud's Margarita. If you want it to be messy like Bud's, just take your strainer and just kind of shake it all around the kitchen.
There we
without
go.
the top
Is
on.
it just me, or did a lot of that sound really sexual?
Well, it might have just been you,
Oh.
but
Well, I'm still
I-
reeling. I'm still reeling from the effects that
No,
Mrs. Incredible
leave her
put
out
on
of
me
this.
last month.
Leave her out of this.
well, I can always go for a margarita, and I will say that I was watching that scene thinking, I don't know that Bud knows what the fuck he's doing,
No,
but I bet that margarita hit pretty strong because he probably loaded that shit up. He looks like the type
He wasn't stingy.
ain't gonna be
Heavy-handed.
stingy with that tequila and the Gran Marnier. So
No.
I'm here for it. And you know what? Bud might have been a fun guy to hang out with.
Yeah.
I can picture us drinking a case of Steel Reserve and smoking cigars by a campfire and staring at the mountains at
And
night.
don't forget, go visit him where he works at that titty bar.
He works at a titty bar. I mean, come on.
He's a simple man.
Tell
really.
me that's not. Did you guys watch that? I don't want to just assume. Did you guys not watch that and think, man, there's a life for me somewhere there where I'm just living in a trailer in the desert, walking around by a campfire, going to the bar. Maybe I got to throw somebody out every once in a while. Then I just come home and just make me a margarita, sit. Oh, that sounds nice sometimes.
I don't know how McCash feels, but I think that might just be you.
Drinking
Yeah.
chili out of a can.
Yeah,
I think you
I don't think.
romanticize that a little too much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's just-
looked like a real defeated man in a trailer to me.
I don't know.
Maybe the titty bar job is
Yeah.
fine.
I
Like-
get that he doesn't have much to worry about, but he doesn't
Yeah.
really have much anyway.
If I take my books out there, just prop my feet
Yeah.
up at the end of the day, I don't know.
It'd be
maybe
boring eventually.
I
Yeah.
work too much. Maybe that's the lesson here. Maybe I need to stop.
I don't
working
think he
so
had
much.
TV. You gonna watch the Titans play out there in the desert?
I could go to the bar.
You think
I
they
think
have
your life would
TVs?
be
We
better
don't
off
even
if you
know.
didn't, though.
Yeah, but that's true.
Touche.
Hey, amen to that. Yeah.
Touche. No, but I think there's just a coolness about Michael Madsen. I don't really care what he's doing.
Why isn't he in more stuff?
I don't know.
Is
Did he get
dead
canceled?
too?
He did get canceled, but I just feel like he pops up in just random things.
Whenever Tarantino does a flick, he's there.
Yeah, and then he'll do like real shitty B movies that no one's ever heard of,
Yeah.
and then he does like he's in Free Willy. So
Michael Madsen is someone we should put in the conversation for the Geno Smith run.
he was in Blood Rain. And
He wasn't.
and I
Blood
bet
Rain.
that's probably where that lady who was the Terminator, that was
Yeah.
her next movie.
Yeah.
And then everybody just thought, you know what?
All these people.
All these people are out.
Yeah. No
Well,
more. No more.
Here's what's funny. If you go to IMDb, you can always see what they have upcoming. And it's
Yeah.
usually for each actor, it's like 1 or 2, maybe 3 things.
He doesn't.
He's got 21 items listed as upcoming.
hell yeah.
Dog. He just
But-
goes.
In a year, let's see if that number's changed at all. It could be stuff that may never see the light of day.
But
I mean,
he
he's
was in
been in a ton of stuff.
He has. He
none
has
of
been
which
in
I've
things.
really heard of in the last couple of years.
No.
Oh, he
it's-
was in Die Another Day? I didn't know that.
He was?
As NSA director Damien Falco.
Die Another Day.
I'll take your
James
word for it.
Bond?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the Brosnan one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Sorry. I don't know what I was thinking.
Oh man, a lot of these are like TV movies,
Yeah.
shorts.
Straight to Tubi.
I forgot he was a voice in the Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, most random things.
We need a Michael Madsen episode of
Yeah.
the VixFlix podcast.
Yeah,
at
we
some
do.
point.
Last big thing I remember him in was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Was he in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? I don't even remember.
He was like a sheriff or something.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Tarantino loves him. And
Well,
let me
hey.
tell you, if he ain't in Tarantino's last movie,
I wish Quentin Tarantino would love me.
Yeah.
Then I'd be set.
but in all fairness, what does he pay him?
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Well, that's a good segue there to talk about the budget. Last month was The Incredibles, whose budget was over $90 million. What do we think the budget was for Kill Bill Volume 2?
Oh.
Mm.
I'm going to say shit, I don't know with this one. I'm going to say 45 million.
I swear that's where I was going to go.
Well,
I'll say 40.
okay.
We got 40 and 45. I'm looking up from last year. So last year, the budget for Kill Bill Volume 1 is the same as for Volume 2. I wonder if these were filmed simultaneously.
I believe they were
Filmed
because
at the same time, one budget. and
yeah,
they just
because
halved
they
them.
because one was released in October, then in April because he decided to split them up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I have
So
a
then
feeling it's
obviously-
all going to be the same.
So it's just like last year's $30 million for the budget.
So it probably cost 60 million to make the whole thing, and they just said,
Yeah,
30
maybe,
each.
or maybe it's 30 million for the
or
whole
it's 30
thing.
for both.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true.
30 for 30.
30 for 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm almost positive the two volumes was not a bit like that happened after
Yeah.
he filmed it because
Gotcha.
knowing him, he probably thought everybody would sit there and watch that whole
Do you know
thing and
how-
take about 7 hours. But
How weird this would have felt as a viewing experience if it was all one movie, where it's like nonstop action through the first one, and then
Yeah.
it just stops.
well, and you know
Just
what's weird
Dialogue.
is it does feel like two separate movies.
It does.
Oh,
so-
definitely.
It is kind of funny how
You
I'm
think about
fine
that.
with the both volumes because they're not really the same at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know it's
Agreed.
supposed to be a continuation, but the whole vibe, tone, look, it doesn't. They're very different.
I agree. So let's continue to talk about money. Let's talk what it did at the box office. It opened April 18th, 2004. I will tell you that it opened at number 1. I don't think that's really a shocker to either one of us or any of us. So on nearly 3,000 screens, the weekend of April 18th, 2004, what did Kill Bill Volume 2 bring home in the United States and Canada?
Got a little buzz after volume 1. People
Either love it or they just were like, "Well, I have to finish it."
Well,
but
in
it's-
case you don't remember, it made 22 million opening weekend for Volume 1.
I'm going to say 36.
I'm gonna say I think it probably did maybe a little better because it is the sequel, sorta. So I'll say 28. I don't know if it made over 30.
No, it did not. It was 25.6 million.
Damn.
Barely.
Yeah.
It did get a little tick, but not much. It made 66.2 million US, Canada, and then worldwide, it really got a big bump where it totaled out at $154.1 million.
So
For
that's
the-
good return.
On 30 million. Yeah. What did
Yeah.
what did we say? Volume 1 did total.
I don't
Volume
remember.
1 did 181, and then Volume 2 did 154. So Volume 2 did less overall than Volume 1 did. But if you add those together on either 30 or $60 million budget, whichever it is, that's a good little chunk of change you made.
Yeah, for real.
Yep.
How much did Madsen get?
He should have
Yeah.
gotten a bigger cut, whatever it
Yeah.
was. I don't even know.
The UK brought in just under $17 million.
Okay.
And then Kill Bill Volume 2 landed in Bulgaria in December of 2004
Okay.
and brought home $7,206.
Some days I have hope for Bulgaria, and then other days I don't.
Yeah.
I just don't.
They're trying. At least they have American cinema there.
Here's my question. Can you imagine going to see that in Bulgaria on Christmas? What a treat.
Well, my question is, do they celebrate Christmas in Bulgaria?
That's true. People here would have seen it around Easter. I'm sure that was fun.
Yeah. I don't know what they celebrate in Bulgaria.
So
It's
that opening weekend that in April that it opened, the only major release that week was The Punisher.
Hell
with
yeah.
John Travolta. And your top five for that week were at number 5, Home on the Range. Never seen it.
Animated, right?
It's animated Disney about cows, and Roseanne's a voice on it.
Well,
oh yeah,
with Dame Judi Dench.
Now I'll never see it. Number 4 is Hellboy.
I was about to say, I feel like Hellboy was out.
Yeah, I think that was early April. I think.
Number 3 is the Johnson Family Vacation. I think that's Cedric the Entertainer or something.
That is, yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And then obviously Kill Bill Volume 2 is number 1, but The Punisher opened at number 2.
As
I had such high hopes for that movie.
I thought it was cool because John Travolta as a villain was cool, just like in Swordfish.
Oh, Swordfish was a good movie.
Then he did Battle.
I said, okay.
Then he did that. Then he was that kick-ass villain in Battle Earth or whatever.
Battlefield Earth.
That's it.
You mean Hairspray?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that character in Hairspray was when Elastic Girl got older.
Oh.
If I'm not mistaken.
Well, that ass was still fat.
Hey.
That's a throwback right there. Anyway, let's talk about, we've already kind of discussed how we feel about Kill Bill Volume 2, but go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, I still kind of, there are parts I actually like more in Volume 2 than in Volume 1, but I still keep going back because I think it's, part of it is, like Stoney said, pieces were put together. I like the wedding scene when it's in black and white.
I did like that.
And Bill's kind of talking to her, and then you kind of see them show up, and I like that. But then they're like, and I like the Michael Madsen stuff. But I will tell you, for somebody to start the journey in Volume 1, get through Volume 2, that ending is more overwhelming or underwhelming than I remember, because they don't really fight. It's about the daughter. And then I feel like as soon as they talked about that heart punch thing, I feel like you knew that was going to be used. How it was gonna, and that was it. Like it was almost like you have all these action stuff in Volume 1. She's kind of making amends, but Volume 2 is really kind of to show you how we got here on this revenge tour. And then when her and Bill finally come face to face, it's kind of like this nice little talk and farewell thing before she punches him in the heart.
It was weird. Yeah.
It was a weird ending.
To reveal how I watched the film, I put it on, remembering that I kind of enjoyed Volume 1. And then, like Stoney, I found myself bored and disinterested. So when all of the heart punch talk was happening, I
missed it.
I kind of missed that. Maybe took a little nap. And so at the end of the film, I kind of dozed for a second too, and I just see Bill walking off, and then he just after 5 steps he just drops. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
You did miss a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's a classic case of Chekhov's gun. If they're going to show you the gun, they're going to use it at some point.
Right.
Yeah.
So as soon as they started talking about that, I was like, it's like, you see it coming.
Yeah. Yep.
And they spent like 20 minutes of her punching her way out of a fucking coffin.
Yep. And getting her sword made. Well, just so you know, when she was getting the sword made, that gentleman is the one who taught her the heart punch thing. And then Bill was like, "Oh, he taught you that." Mm-hmm. But it's just so. I guess part of it is there really is almost no emotion either. Like besides her crying at the end, because obviously Bill does mean something to her. It's just kind of like, oh, well, wasn't that worth it? And then I mean, I guess for Tarantino, you just like whatever expectations you had. I feel like he didn't. He just told himself he's not doing his stuff, but both volumes suffer for it too, because it's not really like, I have a feeling there's probably better kung fu movies if you're just watching the 70s.
Yeah,
I would say it's a very dramatic swing because we don't flesh that out with the characters leading into the final scene, that like maybe there are some conflicting emotions. I mean, maybe I just missed it along the way, but it felt to me like a really stark contrast between revenge, bloodthirst, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, no, like there actually are really good, really deep, complicated feelings here that make a story interesting. I feel like we swung the pendulum back too far the other direction.
I think none of that really got started kind of coming into focus until volume 2.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is in that wedding scene,
the beginning,
that where he talks to her.
Yeah.
And then maybe there a little bit when he drops her off at the guy, but the guy's going to make the sword. But I still, yeah. And then I feel like if you didn't feel it then, that last like 25 minutes where they're sitting there basically talking with the daughter, when the daughter leaves, it's like, oh, we have unfinished business, and they're talking. That's what it's supposed to be. And that send off didn't feel right either.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to make this like action packed kung fu Western hybrid movie,
yeah,
it feels like I can get from a creative standpoint wanting to do something a little different, but it just doesn't feel like the payoff is really worth it.
Yes.
By the time you get to the end.
Yes.
And from a
you want to see
storytelling
Bill do
standpoint,
something.
yeah, it's
first of all
interesting, but also we've just been watching like sword fights and brawls, and all of a sudden like the final showdown is essentially talking it out.
Yeah.
And it's just a really,
and you don't even get a full action stuff really in a lot of those. Like, I mean, I do like the Daryl Hannah and Uma Thurman fight.
Yeah,
I
sure.
thought that was a good one. But yeah, it's almost like Tarantino decided, I'm going to load it up on the front half, and on the back half, I think it's supposed to mean more than what it really does.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a little heart in it at the end when she's meeting BB for the first time, and all that stuff. So
yeah.
With that said, we discussed what the critics liked about Volume 1 and the major audience as well. So what do we think on Rotten Tomatoes, the media thought for Volume 2 when it comes to the tomato meter?
I feel like it's still going to be pretty high. I mean, like reading some of the reviews, I mean, I remember like one of the big, I want to say it was Ebert, gave it like a perfect score. I can't remember.
Do you want to know what happened to him?
I'm done asking that question.
I was so glad. What's the best part is that you really didn't know.
I really didn't know. Yeah, which I should have like.
It was
Wikipedia'd
such a weird.
it
was such a weird thing to read. But anyway, go ahead.
I feel like people loved this movie.
I feel like it's like 76.
I'm gonna say 90.
So wow, that's a big gap. So Volume 1, the tomato meter was 85%.
Yeah.
Volume 2, 84%.
Yeah.
So you guys were kind of in the middle, basically.
I still kind of surprised by that.
I'm on the low end of this. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5, and scrolling my letterbox, like a lot of my friends, people that I follow, are like 4 or 5 out of 5, and I can't get there, boys.
No,
can't get there.
I think mine is probably 2.5 to a 3 for both volumes. Like if I feel like I would probably say maybe a 3 for Volume 1 and 2.5 for Volume 2, just because it is such a really slows things down, story wise, action wise.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the 80s, I guess there's some filmmakers I feel like people can't go against them no matter what it is. Like how dare you?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe we're missing something. Maybe we're just a bunch of jackasses.
Yeah. That's to be debated. So what do we think the popcorn meter is for Volume 2?
I'm going to stick with 90. I just feel like people love
now.
This
I
movie.
feel like we're going to do like a 72, 73. I'm shocked if audience is up in the 80s too.
So what did we
Come
say
on,
again?
come on. I'm going to say 7. I'm going to say 73.
I'm going to
70.
stick with 90.
90 and 73. So volume 1 was 81% popcorn meter,
Lower.
but the masses enjoyed volume 2 much more than volume 1, as it comes in at 89%.
Almost
Oh
had it.
my
Almost had it.
God. I hate movies.
Well, I'm telling you, man, like I felt like, you know, like when you're scrolling through after you've watched a film.
No, I
to
think
see
so,
what
it sounds like
people
you got a
said.
tip off. You
Like-
kind of
No, I'm just reading what people think about it, you know, and like
Yeah.
what they're rating. I'm like, I'm the odd man out here not
Hmm.
liking this film.
I'm shocked.
Well, I
that it's
shouldn't
that
say I
high.
didn't. I shouldn't say I didn't like it.
Yeah,
There were
but
things I liked about it,
89.
but for a Tarantino film with the cast, I
Yeah.
just was really disappointed.
I will say, I remember thinking when I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that I said, it's the first time where I felt like I was slightly disappointed in Tarantino.
Yeah,
But I didn't know it at the time, but I guess Kill Bill may have actually
think-
done it. I just didn't go back and watch them.
I want to go back and watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood again because I think that and Kill Bill, I'm debating like what his worst film is, but I think it's between those two.
Michael Madsen's in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I do, yeah.
That's half a star at least right there in your
Yeah,
rating.
at least one.
Yeah.
I think volume 2, if you split them apart, I think volume 2 is his
Is true.
worst movie.
Oh, yeah,
But
absolutely.
I think the first one was at least a little fun enough that if I put them all together, Kill Bill as
True,
one movie,
right? Which is the way
I
he
might-
views it.
I might actually like that more than Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah,
This is
I-
really important to
I
iron
think-
out on this
I
podcast.
think-
It is.
I will say we'll get back to volume 2 in just a sec, but I want to say his lowest Rotten Tomato, I think, is for Death Proof.
I like
That makes
Death Proof.
sense.
I actually did like Death Proof mainly because I like, again, that's more of Tarantino's style, but he's also is taking a certain genre of
Yeah,
a certain time, but also Kurt Russell. Man, he can fuck.
Kurt
What is-
Russell can go.
What is he doing right now?
Kurt Russell?
Yeah.
He did that Monarch series on Apple about the Godzilla and King Kong. And he just finished up, what was he? He was just in something. What was
Guardians of
he
the
Holy
in?
On?
Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah, I was going to say that. He's also been Santa Claus.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the Christmas Chronicles. Yeah.
How dare you?
Now go back to the reporter, journalist, and whatnot, the media.
Yeah.
I do have one review from Rotten Tomatoes, and this is coming from Dan Marcucci of Broomfield Enterprise. Never heard of.
I love some of these outlets.
Yeah. But he says Volume 2 is about 1 million times better than Volume 1. Unfortunately, though, 1 million times 0 is still 0.
Oh, burned
Oh,
him.
burn.
Got him at
Got
the
him.
I
end.
like his style. I like his style.
Yeah. And then
This was great, but also it's been shit.
Yeah. Let's
love it.
move right into letterbox reviews. I've got a few here for you. We'll start with
Okay.
Lucy. Lucy gave Kill Bill Volume 2 5 stars
Oh,
and says, listen, the entire chapter, L and I, is absolutely one of the best sequences that Quantum Toronto has ever made.
Quantum Toronto.
you.
That's good. There's a lot of fun plays on his name. It's a fun meme activity
oh, for QT.
for old
Yeah.
QT.
For old QT. Rudy on Letterboxd gave it 3.5 stars. It says, I didn't come here to be emotionally attacked, but here I am crying over Uma Thurman, aka Mommy. I guess
Oh.
Uma is giving people mommy vibes.
Well, she is.
Well,
yeah,
She's no Rhea Ripley, but
she's credited as mommy in the end credits. I don't know if you guys caught
oh,
that.
is she?
I
They
did
flash
not catch
all
that.
of her character names. It goes between
Oh,
the bride,
Oh.
Black Mamba, Bellatrix Lestrange or whatever, and
Kiddo.
Mommy. Kiddo, that's it.
Kiddo.
Beatrix Kiddo,
Yeah,
Beatrix
yeah.
Kiddo.
not Harry Potter. Beatrix Kiddo, and then it says mommy at the end.
I
Ah,
missed that one.
I just turned it off.
Yeah, same. Another lover of this film, Veronica, gave it 4 stars. And she says, the training scene gave me major Mulan vibes that I almost started singing, I'll Make a Man Out of You.
That's true. I like that the women have enjoyed Volume 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Abby did not like Volume 2 so much. She gave it 1 star, quoting, I also want to kill Bill for wasting 2 hours of my life.
Damn.
Yeah.
Ditto.
Well, guess what? He's dead now. So
He's dead.
Congrats, Abby.
You won.
Congrats, Abby.
You won.
You did it.
The film was nominated for a bunch of awards, not winning too many, but Uma Thurman and David Carradine were both nominated for Golden Globes for their portrayals of the bride and Bill. It was also nominated for Best Compilation Soundtrack Album at the Grammys the following year.
Okay.
When it comes to Tarantino, nobody touches
Music.
him when it comes to music.
Nope.
The closest is Zach Braff when it comes to his soundtrack films.
I don't know. I like James Gunn. James Gunn's got a lot of good ones. I
He's
know
got a
it's a
good thing
comic
going.
book movies, but I do like how he uses music. But man, Quentin Tarantino's been doing it since the
90s.
Reservoir Dogs. Yeah.
One big win it did take home. It won Best Foreign Film at the Turkish Film Critics Association Awards.
Thank you.
How about that?
Yeah.
So basically, the best English
Speaking
language.
film, yeah.
That's something. I wonder if Quantum Toronto has that on his trophy case.
Oh, I bet he does.
He was probably there in person to accept.
Yeah.
I could so see him thinking that's cool.
Yeah.
And flying out there.
In his pussy wagon.
Yeah.
And
Look at all those women's feet.
Yep. I did learn something when it comes to the awards, that Kill Bill Volume 2 was the first film to be sent out as a DVD for screeners to the Oscar voters.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah. That got them 0 nominations.
Yeah, I was to say also it didn't work.
Well, they
but,
tried.
Yeah.
Innovation,
Yeah, that's true.
So some early posters for the movie proclaimed it as the 5th film by Quentin Tarantino. Subsequent posters have not used that blurb, while the film simply says a film by Quentin Tarantino. Kill Bill Volume 1 says the 4th film by Quentin Tarantino at the beginning, and Volumes 1 and 2 are supposed to be considered as one film. And the 5th film by Quentin Tarantino was actually Death Proof.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what does that mean? So his last one is his 10th, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Which is what he's on.
Which is what he's on, the film critic.
Well, he ditched that one.
He ditched that one.
Yeah.
So now
he literally was casting and stuff, and apparently it didn't really deal with anything particular. I think it mainly dealt. I think it like he didn't know how to end it, and I think what I read was something about dealing with the writing of it and everything. He couldn't get it right, or he didn't like it, and so anyway, yeah, he tossed it. And as of most recently, he said he's in no hurry to do the 10th one.
I mean, listen, he ain't getting any younger. Buddy.
No, but I also feel like, is this a way to kind of be like, okay, when I finally do my 10th movie, is he going to be 78 years old?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Also, I kind of think it's stupid to just be like, I'm just going to do 10 films.
Yeah. That's
his thing is, even the greats, sometimes you wear out your welcome, but he doesn't do that.
Metropolis.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Which some would say it started before that for Coppola. But to me, it's kind of like, but here's for me, the example is Scorsese.
Yeah.
That man will make movies till he's dead. And some of his best ones have been, in my opinion, in his last 10, 15 years of life.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think it's kind of bullshit, but I think it was Scorsese or someone said I could kind of see him saying that because when you are a writer and director, it takes a lot more out of you.
That's true.
Because that he spends more time on that script. Once they get to filming the movie, I mean, he's got it. Because he doesn't let them go too far off script. At all.
So on IMDb under Quantum Toronto, under his upcoming, the movie critic is still listed, but there's really nothing to go along with it. And then there's a TV series called Bounty Law where he has supposedly directed 5 episodes.
Yeah. Now he did talk about writing more and doing TV.
Yeah.
Which is a way. I mean, the way TV is now. I mean, they all could be like movies. So
yeah, for real.
I would like to see that. Is Bounty Law out?
No, it's in his upcoming. It just says it's the story of Jake Cahill. No,
is there a cast?
Somebody named Todd Barrow as Officer Bridge, but I think that's just like a small character.
You know who's going to be in it?
Michael Madsen.
Right.
Michael Madsen.
Exactly right.
And I'll watch.
Me too.
And the ghost of David Carradine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let him float his ass around there.
Yeah.
With his tied up testicles.
Did you know? Did you know Michael Madsen is in a music video for Every Time I Die? A hardcore band. He loved them, and they put him in a music video.
That man will. He's open. He's open to doing anything.
I'll show it to you.
He's like Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Boundless.
Yep. For this movie, the writer and director Quentin Tarantino wanted to change the genre. So Kill Bill Volume 1 was Kung Fu, and he wanted this movie to be a Western.
Oh, he did
it. What we mentioned earlier.
Yep.
Congrats. Mission accomplished.
And at the film's first screening in Texas, or test screening in Austin, Texas, the audience gave the film a 5-minute standing ovation.
That happens everywhere, though.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
I feel like
it's like I don't mean to rain on Quentin Tarantino's parade here, but like we always hear that. We always hear that. Wow, this movie standing ovation at whatever film festival.
Well, Cannes loves to do it.
Cannes, yeah. Have you ever been a part of a standing ovation for a movie after seeing a screening of it?
I
just imagine like when we went to see Quasi, us just standing up at the Belcourt, just.
But and it's like 12 minutes.
Yeah,
nonstop 12-minute clapping.
We just the two of you.
Yeah, we should have.
We missed our chance.
We got a free T-shirt. I should have stood up and clapped for at least 2 minutes. Yeah. I don't think so. I think it's kind of. I get why people do it during certain things. But like when people some people will clap like after, a 2:15 afternoon movie. And I'm like, who are we clapping for? That Regal kid's about to clean up my snot and cum and popcorn.
Those are the same
who are we clapping for?
Those are the same people who clap on planes when they land.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'd clap this year. I sure as hell would clap this year. I might give the pilot a standing ovation. Yeah. No, I don't think I've ever been a part of it. But yeah, I mean, also, I feel like it can, and I don't know if Tarantino was at the test screening, but if I'm sitting right next to the people who made it, I'm going to stand up and clap anyway, even if I leave that theater being like, that was fucking boring. I mean, some people just do it to do it. And also, I think there's some kind of like, when you see something early enough, people lose their shit. It's almost like they like it more because they saw it before anybody else. And then by the time it hits like theaters, like a nationwide, some kind of release, people are like, huh? Like, I feel like that happens every time a Marvel movie comes out. People are blown away. And then by the time it gets released and like everybody else but the critics come out, it's like 52% rotten. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like I went to a screening of Blockers with John Cena.
Yes.
And I sure as hell didn't give that a standing ovation when it was over with.
You should have.
I love that movie.
You should have.
I love that movie.
Look, I enjoyed the movie, but it wasn't getting a standing ovation just because Peacemaker was there.
Could you see him?
Yeah, because he was super. I see your joke there, but yeah, I did see him because he was super pissed about some of the people that were in the audience. Because some parents brought their like 9-10-year-old kids to see this movie.
Oh, I see. He's pissed because you need to be responsible.
I think you've told us that story.
John Cena sounds like a real good dude.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's world champion now.
16-time, whatever. Yeah. Well, WrestleMania hasn't happened yet. As at the time of this recording, we still have another week before.
Damn it,
WrestleMania happens. But nonetheless,
now we look stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, granted, this is live, so everybody knows that.
That makes us look stupid, but Elastic Girl's booty hole, trust me, everyone's going to find it super fun. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
The club owner in Kill Bill Volume 2 hated Bud's hat because writer and director Quentin Tarantino didn't like it when Michael Madsen would appear on set wearing it. He tried to talk Michael out of it, but that didn't help. So Quentin got back with a little change in the script the next day, and Michael Madsen had to follow along with it.
So what hat was it?
So when he's in the office of the strip club owner, and the strip club owner is like, "I've told you multiple times, don't wear the hat, take it off."
Okay.
So I guess the script was a little different prior because Quentin had repeatedly asked him, "Please don't wear that hat on set. It's hideous. It's ugly." Madsen was like, "Fuck you, bro. This is only your 5th film, so I'm going to do what I want."
I love the Madsen madness. I love it. He does not give a fuck.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like him and Tarantino are probably more like buddies. So when someone's telling you, "Hey, don't do that," he's like, "I'm gonna fuck with him."
I like the cowboy hat.
I did too. And also, if he wants a Western, you have to have a cowboy hat.
For real.
It just makes sense.
How else are we going to know it's a Western?
Exactly.
Come on.
Yeah.
Without that cowboy hat, what the hell is it?
Yeah.
No, really.
One way this film saved money and had such a small budget was when it came to some of the music in the film and being the score of the film. And Robert Rodriguez, the great director of El Mariachi and other films, scored the movie.
You mean?
Yes, Spy Kids.
Yeah, he did do Spy Kids.
He did. That's legit.
Yeah. How much do you think Robert charged his buddy Quentin Tarantino to score the film of Kill Bill Volume 2?
I mean, I feel like his buddies, I'd say none, but there's probably like he had to give him the sword or something.
It's like to do like the taxes or whatever, he's got to charge.
Give him $40.
Yeah, something like
whatever
with the
scale was.
Isn't there something with like the pay of the guilds and stuff where like they've got to get a certain amount, so it's like you pay him what you'd pay an extra.
I think he gave him a sword.
Gave him a sword.
Yeah, he gave him $1.
Yeah, see, something like that.
One whole dollar. Quentin Tarantino said he would repay him by directing a segment of Sin City for an exchange for $1 as well.
And he did, didn't he?
Yep.
Wasn't it a car chase thing?
It was a scene in which Dwight drives Jackie Boy's corpse. So
that's it. I also know how you save money. You hire people like Michael Madsen and Daryl Hannah. That's how you save money.
The star of Splash isn't
and David Carradine.
Yeah. Because your royalties for David Carradine aren't going to last long since he's going to take his own life a couple of years later.
Yeah.
Right. And I have a feeling they didn't get shit for royalties with Tarantino movie anyway.
Yeah. Fair.
Michael Madsen would be filthy rich if that's the case.
Yeah.
I learned that 2 of the females in this film did not like each other at all and did not get along with each other so badly so they had to be separated at times from each other.
Don't tell me.
That being Uma Thurman and Daryl Hannah.
So that fight was real.
Yeah. So they did not get along with each other and were reportedly instructed. They reportedly instructed hotel and cinema staff to ensure that they were kept separate from each other during the press tour for Volume 1. They were again at odds at the film screening at Cannes and ordered separate areas to be created at the after show party so they wouldn't clash. And when the 2 women won Best Fight at the 2005 MTV Movie Awards, only Daryl attended. Uma's absence was conspicuous. Jesus Christ. Considering she had gone the previous year to collect the award for her fight in Volume 1.
What's the source of this? What happened? They just don't get along?
Damn it.
I
want to know what the deal is.
I looked for that answer, but I couldn't find anything.
I think it's I'm not talking just
Diva?
Specifically about these 2, but I feel like people in general that have trouble getting along with people in professional roles are usually, in my experience, pretty difficult people. So
maybe both of them are.
I think they could. I think that's a sign that both could be pretty difficult.
I could also see in both of them want to fuck Madsen.
Yeah, I mean, you dangle a carrot like that out there
I mean,
between
did
two.
you see him in that cowboy hat?
Listen. Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Don't write David Carradine off as one who could be given the D to these two ladies.
That's true.
Well,
but then
yeah.
I think I feel like they could share David.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke may have had something to say about this as well when it came to Uma Thurman.
That's true. Good point. Yeah. Good point. I wish I knew, but I have a feeling it's probably something really stupid. But I want to know like who started it. Like, you know what I mean? Like who crossed the line? Because I feel like Daryl Hannah
shit about Splash.
Yeah, like I feel like Daryl Hannah's the type that probably says what she thinks. And maybe that rubbed Uma the wrong way. I think the good news is that that both of them don't really have careers anymore.
Yeah. That's
Uma Thurman was in something, but anyway, it got canceled. And then I think I saw her in
what is the last thing she's done?
Actually, I do, but you probably have not seen it. But it's Paul Schrader, who wrote Raging Bull, who directed First Reform.
Yeah.
And stuff. He has a new one called Oh Canada, and Uma Thurman plays Richard Gere's wife.
Okay. Richard Gere.
Yes. Which, he's in some cool new show with Michael Fassbender.
I did not know that.
Yeah. He's on the up and up.
Okay. Bright young.
On the up and up.
Bright young acting.
Hi to Gerbils. Richard Gere's back.
Tarantino should give Gere a call.
Uma Thurman is going to be in the Dexter reboot.
Really?
Oh, okay. What's Daryl Hannah doing?
And that's a great question. So
he probably has 22 upcoming projects.
Daryl Hannah, what is her most famous role?
Splash, or what is it? The 50-foot woman that she played?
Well, she was in Wall Street. Yeah. She was in Wall Street.
Oh yeah, she was. She was a big deal in the 80s.
Her last credit was a movie called Buckle Up in 2023.
Okay, so yeah, she was working. Never mind.
Yeah, never heard of it.
Never mind.
The last thing I see that I've remotely heard of, and I'm already at 2012 and I don't see anything. Boy, Kill Bill did nothing to resurrect her career at all.
No, but she's probably being difficult. I don't know. I hate to hear
Kill Bill is the last thing that I've heard of that she's been in.
Well, that probably makes sense. Uma Thurman's probably up there. I remember her doing My Super Ex-Girlfriend, and that was, I think that's
horrible. What came to mind for me.
And then I remember her being in a movie with Meryl Streep where she's dating Meryl Streep's son or something. It's called Prime, but she's her therapist. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm scrolling down her. Oh, she was in Burnt, 2015 with Bradley Cooper. Yeah. I like that movie.
Yeah, that was pretty good. So I don't know.
Oh, don't forget, she was in movie 43.
Oh God, well, who wasn't?
That to this day is the worst movie I've ever seen.
I think, I think so.
And I paid to see that movie.
I think we did too.
Yeah.
I sat in a theater.
That's Elizabeth Banks' fault right there, boys and girls.
Yep. Shame on her.
Yep.
Well, she got us.
But she totally redeemed herself with Cocaine Bear, so I'm fine.
You mean Pitch Perfect?
Yeah, that too.
In an interview for Channel 4 in the UK, David Carradine said that before he was cast as Bill, he was unemployed and collecting welfare.
Damn.
That's kind of sad.
Shit, that is sad.
But there's always one like that Tarantino likes to kind of like reinvent them.
Yeah, I mean, look at Travolta.
I think in Travolta, and then there was Pam Grier. I know this one mainly dealt with David Carradine. Brad Pitt. Yeah, we all remember he had a Pitt downfall. Yeah. But there's someone else, and it doesn't always have to be like the main character. Also in Jackie, Robert Forster, who was also went on to do. He's really good in the. Oh my God, what is that Alexander Payne movie? The Descendants.
Yeah,
with Clooney. Okay. But yeah, he likes to pick different people for that. I guess here recently he hasn't really done that as far as like, Leo and all those guys. But I do like his casting choices. He doesn't always go for like maybe the most well known, but he does, and I think it's his love for cinema that he can go back so far and have these different people kind of play. In a way, Kurt Russell was kind of like that. I love him more probably in The Hateful Eight, but Bruce Dern,
yeah,
now movie. Nebraska, he did get an. So there's always kind of people that he brings back.
Good. Another Alexander Payne flick.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I really do appreciate what he's able to bring. It's just this one's just a bit off.
Yeah, it was.
I don't even know what we're talking about. I'll be honest.
But
when in doubt, I just go back to giving my review of the movie.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what we're here for. There is an Easter egg in the film.
Oh,
and that is egg. The spit can that Bud, Michael Madsen, used was labeled Oak Ridge Coffee. And Oak Ridge is a town 25 miles from Tarantino's hometown of Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
The Oak Ridge Boys.
How about that? Is he one of them?
That's what I'm piecing together.
The things those boys wanted to do to Elvira in the Hungry House Cafe.
Yeah.
A lot.
Hey, that ain't no joke.
A lot in the lines of what people wanted to do to Elastigirl.
Stop.
I knew it. As soon as he started talking, I knew we were going to go back to there.
Bill makes a reference to Batman at one point in the movie, and Uma Thurman played Poison Ivy in Batman and Robin, which starred George Clooney as Bruce Wayne, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually liked her as Poison Ivy. I wish she was in a better Batman movie. Yeah. I liked her in it.
I remember liking that movie, but I haven't watched it since I was a child, so I'm going to refrain from any...
I mean, she seemed to fit the part. The movie's not very good, and Bane was kind of like her henchman, and that was
funky.
But I think when you are standing next to a glistening Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze, anybody probably looks better.
Yeah,
fair. One thing I didn't pick up on until I did researching is that the bride never exchanges any dialogue with Bud during their entire time on screen together.
Oh, that's right, because he shoots her, and then she can't talk.
Yeah.
And then by the time, and she doesn't kill him.
Yeah.
Well, she only kills one person in the whole movie.
In Volume 2.
Yeah, Volume 2.
Yeah, okay.
And that's Bill.
Yeah.
During.
Wait a minute, Daryl. No.
You don't know Daryl Hannah's dead.
Yeah. You're right. She just got her other eye.
Because when the credits roll, there's a big question mark on her name.
Oh yeah.
So there was thoughts of there being a third volume at one point.
There was talks
about a third and a fourth.
He talked about doing that as being his last, but then I heard he scrapped that.
Yeah. It's been like back and forth for the last 10 years.
I wouldn't doubt if a limited series on TV.
Yeah, maybe.
And Uma Thurman and Daryl Hannah come back.
Ooh.
Oh.
Well, the story was supposed to be about
WrestleMania 43.
Or you just be really petty and you recast Daryl Hannah.
Yeah. With Sydney Sweeney for no fucking reason.
But every story.
My throat just stopped working. Excuse me. The story was supposed to be the little girl whose Vivica A. Fox's daughter coming back for her revenge on the bride all these years later.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And then BB fucks her up.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I do remember that the girl would come back.
Yeah.
Because the daughter saw what happened. Which that still was unanswered.
Now, during Beatrix's fight with Elle reveals that she killed their joint master, Pai Mei, who they trained under alongside Bill.
Move.
Yep. And then Beatrix responds by ripping out Elle's remaining eye with her right hand. But if you paid close attention to a prior flashback, there's actually a secret significant meaning in Beatrix's act. So during the flashback where the Pai Mei is training a younger Beatrix, he defeats her, and while twisting her arm in place, informs her, "It's my arm now. I can do what I please." So with that logic, Pai Mei indirectly managed to get revenge against Elle for killing him, given that Beatrix used her right arm the one that Pai Mei now owns.
I thought that was some nice symbolism
Nice.
there. It was like I looked at it as like an extension of him because he was talking about that earlier on. Like, this is my arm now, and then she strikes with the right arm. I was like, oh, I didn't look at it as like, oh, that's Pai Mei doing it. I thought, oh, it's justice.
Yeah. I wonder if I'm still hung up on Uma Thurman and Daryl Hannah getting in a fight, but do you think that's why he never worked with him again? He never did anything with him. You know, Uma Thurman was Pulp Fiction too.
Yeah.
But I just find it odd that he never went back to any of them.
Goes back to what I was saying. Like, I have people that can't get along with others, like in a professional role. Yeah. Maybe it was both of them, and maybe it's a characteristic of them.
That's true. That's true.
That's a smart thing to do. Just make up traits about people based off of something you hear in a podcast.
They'll never know.
Yeah.
The bride, like I mentioned earlier, only kills one person in Volume 2, that being Bill. And when Beatrix finally reaches Bill's hotel room, she's surprised with the news that her daughter, BB, which is Bill plus Beatrix, BB, is indeed alive, as she points to a toy gun at her mother and shouts, "Bang, bang." And I think it's neat foreshadowing because at the very start of the first Kill Bill, Nancy Sinatra's iconic "Bang, bang, my baby shot me down" plays over the opening credits with the lyrics, "My baby shot me down, bang, bang." There's just no way this is a coincidence on Tarantino's part.
No, I didn't catch that.
I didn't catch that either.
But that was hours ago.
Yeah.
Hours and hours ago.
It was a year ago.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And for me, it was, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I said hours and hours.
I didn't watch Volume 2 right after 1. I wanted to wait.
I didn't either.
Oh, I didn't either. I mean, I watched them when they came out in theaters, and then I haven't watched them since.
Yeah.
Until we had to prep for this.
But that's a really cool. That's
like
a really
that.
cool little nugget there.
Yeah. I like that. You know what? 5 out of 5. Yeah. For Volume 2.
Yeah, I'm changing my rating.
Changing my rating over Nancy Sinatra. Look, that's all I have for Kill Bill Volume 2. I don't really have any memorable quotes or what it did for pop culture or anything. I just think it's a movie that exists in the Quentin Tarantino universe.
I just want to mention the eyeball scene when she steps on the eyeball. Yeah. That is
with her bare feet.
Yeah, that is. I remember people talking about that, never seeing the film. But seeing it was like, oh yeah, that's a little rough.
I think I'm sure we already talked about this in Volume 1, but I think the only real thing was Uma Thurman's yellow suit.
Yeah,
I think is really what people mostly remember it by, and I think some people dressed up. Maybe they still do. I don't know, but yeah, I like that. I really like that song. That's a nice little tidbit. But that was at the top of Volume 1.
Yep.
And then it ends. Yeah, that was a nice touch. Tarantino is really gifted, I guess.
He's good at filmmaking. I think.
God, after nine movies, I would be like, oh, I don't know, maybe, but he's good. He's really good.
What is he doing today?
Yeah, hey, check his IMDb.
Doesn't he have a book?
Yes, I have it. Yes, Cinema Speculation.
What's it about?
Is
it a novel or is it nonfiction?
No, it's a fiction. Yeah, but it is about a certain period in Hollywood, but it is a fiction book.
I might have to buy it, add it to my library.
That's the next thing I want to read. I haven't started it yet.
Yeah.
I might start it when I don't know. We'll see next year. I've already read 2 books this year. I'm exhausted.
I've already read 3, and I've got bookmarks in 5 different books right now.
Oh my God. I don't know how you do it.
Well, they're different genres.
McCash, do you know how to read?
I have looked at books.
Is he here?
Yeah. I've looked at books.
They're pretty cool.
I've touched a few. I use them as paperweights. So yeah, if we got nothing else to add to Volume 2, which I don't, I say we just move straight into our Mount Rushmore question.
Yeah, this is a tough one.
It was tough. It's your favorite sequels of all time.
Stoney, go ahead. You got your list.
I mean, this was pretty easy. It came to mind pretty much right away. I think I start with The Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Mm-hmm. I go to The Dark Knight, which was Heath Ledger's Joker. I go to Logan. I think it's one of the best superhero movies ever made. And then one of the first places my mind went was to the Rocky franchise and Rocky 3.
Oh,
I wanted to
I didn't
kind of
think of Rocky.
stew on it a little bit, but I feel like that movie was one of my first introductions to the concept of the sequel, and just everybody in my circle loved it so much, loved those movies so much, that it kind of popped into my head right away as one of the greats.
I will McCash, you did this on the last one. So this one's tough, but from honorable mentions, I would have to I want to T2 Judgment Day, Mad Max Fury Road, what's the other? Blade Runner 2049. But I would think my top 4 is a lot like Stoney's. Return of the King and The Dark Knight instantly came to mind. I don't even care if there's other movies before it, that they stand the test of time just as the way they are. I'm also, listen, it was my favorite film of the year when it was released. It doesn't even feel like a comic book movie, but Logan, I'm with Stoney. I just don't, it doesn't get any better than that. And then my fourth one, only because it really wraps up, I think, one of the best, like, first 3 movies, whether it's animated or not, but Toy Story 3.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
That's
I like
a good one. I too have some honorable mentions. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I just really loved. It made me, it wasn't expecting a superhero movie to make me tear up, but nonetheless it did. T2, like you mentioned, it was ahead of its time, especially when it came to the special effects.
Yeah.
It's hard not to mention Empire Strikes Back. I'm not a Star Wars fan by any means, but I understand how important that film is.
Yeah.
And then Grease 2. I just love Grease 2.
So
I wanted just to mention it. But my top 4, The Dark Knight, which I think all 3 of us mentioned. And then nobody's mentioned either of my other 3. I go with Conjuring 2, which I think is the best in that whole franchise. 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Oh, I love that movie.
Oh, that is a good one.
Makes up for how bad Cloverfield was.
I liked Cloverfield.
Hey, come on.
That movie just made me sick to my stomach just from the motion sickness. Motion
Don't be a
aspect
wuss.
of it. And then lastly, Before Midnight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love that whole
Ethan
trilogy.
Hawke, Julie Depley.
Yeah, I never saw it.
Also, before we catch some real heat, and McCash, you may have seen it. I know Stoney and I haven't, but I have yet. Excuse me, I have yet to see Godfather Part 2.
I haven't either.
So
I've never had a desire to.
I really have. I went to see The Godfather in theaters when it first came out, and so I need
how that happened.
I need to go see the second one. But so no Back to the Future Part 2.
I enjoyed those as a kid, but I've never gone back and relived those movies.
And no Paddington 2. I noticed no one mentioned.
I love Paddington 2.
Apparently the greatest movie of all time.
That's what I hear.
At one point, the highest rated movie on Rotten Tomatoes.
But man, I like all of our lists. Yours,
yeah.
McCash's yours is a different one. I didn't think about the horror genre as much.
I think horror is just an easy route to go, so I didn't give it much thought.
It is, but I will tell you, there are a lot of sequels that never add up to the first one ever.
Yeah.
So The Conjuring 2, I do get. I like the first one, but the second one is a strong one. But if you really think on a lot of them, they don't. The horror genre is most of the time. By the time you get to the sequel, it's disappointing from there.
Fair.
How do we categorize something like Glass Onion? Like is it
That's
a
more
sequel
of like
or
anthology.
Yeah,
I consider it anthology just because you got the one character.
Yeah,
but then it's totally different stories. Which I mean, to me, when you said Rocky 3, I was kind of surprised because I was thinking Creed.
Yeah, that's on a lot of people's list too.
Which it is a good one.
It's like Top Gun Maverick in that same kind of mold.
Right, yeah. And Blade Runner 2049, and one of mine is a legacy sequel too. But yeah, and I will say, I did forget about that one. You know what? I might have to take one of mine off. Well, Dune Part 2 it would be in my top 4, so I would have to take out one of them.
Okay.
And it would probably I don't want it. No, I'm chiseling a fifth.
Okay.
I'm chiseling a fifth one on there. I can't take out Toy Story 3. Logan's one of the best I've ever seen. And Dark Knight Return of the King, you can't. Yeah, but I totally forgot Doom Part 2 is flippin' epic.
I'll flip and take your word for it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I won't argue that.
There we go.
We got anything else to add?
Yeah, did anyone say Wonka?
No.
All right, just checking.
Didn't say it or see it.
Just checking.
So yeah, that wraps up another episode of Drinking With. You can find me at MC_Cash75 or on Letterboxd at Stephen McCash. Gentlemen, you want to tell these fine folks how they can find you?
At Stoney Keeley on Twitter, at Sobros Network on all major social media platforms.
And for me, at Sir Brandon V on Twitter and Sir Brandon on Letterboxd.
And Nashville Movie Dispatch.
The Nashville Movie Dispatch.
Yeah. And make sure you check out SobrosNetwork.com where you can find all of our work as well. And most importantly, subscribe to Drinking With wherever you get your podcast fix. Leave us a rating and review so we know what you think about the show. And let us know what movie that's turning 21 years old that you would like us to discuss. But cheers to another episode of Drinking With where we explored the films that have come of age like a fine wine. As we raise our glasses to movies turning 21, we've laughed, reminisced. We thought about shedding a tear too, but it still hasn't happened. So until next time, may your drinks be cold, your conversations lively, and your movie nights unforgettable. Drink responsibly, and remember, age is just a number, but great films are forever. We'll see you next time because I have to return some videotapes.